What is up, my friends? We are back with a brand new series. We're calling it the free-to-play friendly guides, where I'm going to be showing you how to use free champions, rare champions, and the occasional epic champion that's not free to play at all, but that I need to use because I don't have anything else. I'm going to show you how to use them to their full potential and get through some of the toughest content in the game. Now today we're doing hard Doom Tower waves. I've noticed this pop up on Reddit in the past week and on my clan Discord. People are just having problems with these waves, man. Even though they got like Duchess and all these other amazing champs. So I'm going to show you a basic team, a crowd control team, how I use it, and then you can build one of your own. So yeah, get your Duchess out of the vault. Just kidding. Almost had you there for a second, didn't I? So this is the team, guys. There is a Void Rare in there. If you don't have a Bellower by now, sucks to be you. But he's not necessary. He's just a really good champion to use in this position. You can throw in Vizix when you get her. You could throw in a Gnarlhorn. You could throw in any champion with solid CC in their kit. And chances are they're going to be easier to build than Bellower, because Bellower's got really low base hit points. But yeah, so basically this team relies on multiple layers of crowd control and some self-sustain and a couple of revivers. Starting with Drexar, he brings a 70 accuracy aura, which is insanely good for hard Doom Tower, because at the top end of hard Doom Tower, some of these enemies have like 320 plus resist, which means you need around, I don't know, like 350 to 375 accuracy to get really high odds to land your CC. So as you can see, my Syl has 328 plus 70 from Drexar, almost 400 AC. She's not going to have a problem landing CC on pretty much anything in hard Doom Tower. I think the highest resist enemies are Mountain Kings at 365 resist. So like at 375 accuracy on those guys, you'll be landing your CC 95% of the time. So yeah, I would aim for 375 as your what you want to get for any serious crowd controller. So he's got the Ak Aura. He's a legendary champion, so you can get a level 1 Brimstone on him, which will help out a bit with damage. Completely unnecessary. I've done all of these waves without Awakenings. I just happen to have Awakenings now, so that's what you have to watch. His A2 provokes, only a 60% chance, but it's good enough if you want to run the wave over and over again until you pass, which you sometimes have to do with a team like this. It also adds decreased attack, which can be helpful against attack-based nukers, but it's definitely not necessary. His main role is doing damage. On one of these hard CC teams, HP burns and poisons are going to be your best bet for damage, and Drex brings a lot of HP burns. Syl, she's got her signature stun on her A2. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 35% chance to stun. With Fearsome Presence, that goes up to 40% chance. Semi-reliable stun. Again, you're at the mercy of RNG with a weak team like this, but you can get through all of the hard Doom Tower waves with it if you're patient. She's got a single target revive, which also puts ally protection up. I save it to put it on to revive Arbiter when she dies, and then Arbiter revives everybody else. And more importantly, or I guess just as importantly, she's got a heals all allies by 10% every time she takes a turn, plus a chance to increase speed, which is nice. Chance to decrease speed on her A1, never hurts. Also a chance to decrease turn meter. it's whatever. It's a decent A1. Arbiter, AoE, Revive, amazing move. Afterwards, you follow it up with the heal and turn meter boost. She's got a decrease enemy buffs by 1 turn on an AoE 100% chance. And her A1, which is nothing special, just has a chance to weaken. If you do want to use her A2, you do need to build accuracy on her. I'll go over the gear at the end of the runs, and I'll show you what everybody's wearing. Bellower here, turn off his A2 and A3. You do not want him using them. Just spam that A1. He's also in a stun set, so with Fearsome Presence and Master Hexer and Sniper, I believe this goes up to 40% chance to block active skills. And it's also a chance to increase it to a 2-turn because of his Masteries. And on top of that, chance to stun. Now, I've built Bellower with a couple of Revenge accessories, which is perfect for him, because when he counterattacks, he just spams this ability. And you can get a lot of extra crowd control because he's built so squishy. Well, he's the squishiest of all the members on the team. So he's going to get targeted, and when he gets off those counterattacks, it really helps out. So here's just a random wave I clicked on, floor 62, and I'll show you how it works. So Arbiter is going to turn meter boost, and then Drexstar is going to provoke, and then Bellower is going to spam A1. And Sill's going to use her stun. And that's how it goes. So the only person who's going to be doing anything is Zelota. Everybody else is either stunned or block active skills or provoked. And we'll watch how this plays out. This team can probably auto up to around stage 90-ish. After that, you're going to have to add a 5th member. If you've got a 5th champion you can throw in, it would help. I just thought it'd be interesting to see how these 4 champs do on their own. And they're just going to cycle and stack crowd control with Sill healing everybody up. Arbiter's got her turn meter boost that will also heal everybody up if they're below 50% hit points. Bellower's got the mastery that he's going to put out leeches when he stuns, which isn't a huge amount of healing, but it all adds up. My Drexstar is in lifesteal right now. I would prefer if he was in regen, but it works for this anyway. There's a few ways you can build Drexstar. Well, 2 ways in my mind. One is lifesteal, one is regen. Lifesteal's probably better for early game because you don't have a lot of regen gear and it needs to go on different champions. Eventually you'll have enough regen gear to put him in it. And then you see the HP burns ticking. That's where all your damage comes from. And eventually they'll whittle their way through the enemies. Layer upon layer of crowd control. So I think you get how this works. We're only halfway up the tower, so these are easier waves. Once you start getting up into the harder stages, they have more speed, more resistance, more accuracy. They hit harder. So like, I know 106 is a tricky wave for a lot of people here. So this is what I use for more 2 waves. I use Helicath, Sill, Arbiter, Godseeker, and Paragon. But when I was doing my challenge, I was using mostly free-to-play champs just to see if I could do it. And Where's my... Yeah, a team like this does work. It just requires RNG because their crowd control isn't 100%. So keep that in mind. You can use this team. You want to build your Paragon in high resist, or you're going to have to bring a cleanser along that goes right in front of Paragon every turn to make sure he's cleansed. Because these Mortus can put block buffs on you. The Hegemons can put block active skills. And if you want to resist that, you're going to need at least 400 plus resistance to give you a decent chance of resisting it. So how this works is everyone's going to target Paragon. He's just going to keep his unkillable up. He's high resistance, so they can't debuff him, they can't block buff him, they can't provoke him, and he'll just continue to be unkillable. The Mortu Perils, his secret skill Peril, usually one-shots anyone it hits, but it can't one-shot Paragon while he's got his unkillable on. So he'll just soak up all the perils, and you can eventually claw your way through the stage. Some of the other tricky waves, I guess, would be like this Siphi Rotos. A lot of people have trouble on this one. You'd want to do... Well, here's the thing with Siphi Rotos waves. Here's what I use. I use Venomage for his heal reduction. I'll show you how that works. Yeah, this will be RNG dependent, so we might lose. But this is the team that I used to get through all of these waves in the past. So the thing about Rotos is he's not that much of a problem if you can crowd control him. But when he's on the same team as a Siphi, her passive cleanses all the debuffs off of him right before he takes a turn. And then he just starts winding up with extra turn, extra turn, extra turn. And he does a lot of damage, so... That's why you bring heal reduction. You can put it on the Siphi. It'll prevent her from healing herself, which is the problem with killing Siphi. Her passive also heals herself by, like, I don't know, I think it's 10 or 20% of her max HP every turn. Yeah, okay, so these Rotos are going nuts with their extra turns. This is where RNG comes into play. Since I didn't get enough lockdown onto the Rotos, they ended up killing me. And killing themselves too, apparently. So when you get this high, you're going to have to manual most of these waves. Just the reality of using a team like this. If you're looking for something that can auto, you're going to need to pull like a Duchess or a Chagger or something like that. Or you know, just get that Ramontu. I need to save his heal reduction for the next wave, so we're just going to have to risk it here. Okay, that really didn't work out at all. We don't have the revive. We don't have the turn meter boost. So they're all wanting to hit the Bellower, and he's not getting any counterattacks, which is pretty bad RNG. I'm just going to manual this a bit more to make sure that we get through it. So I'll try to spread out these HP burns by targeting people that don't have HP burn on them. Yeah, Bellower gets hit like a truck at this stage. Once you eventually get Mithrala, she makes these waves way easier, and you basically just slaughter in where Drexlar is. I'm going to be making a beginner Hydra video soon to show you. I'm going to build a really simple free-to-play team just so you can start getting the bottom chest on Hydra and start collecting those Mithrala fragments. Okay, so I'm going to save my cooldowns. Oh, I wish she would have killed Bellower there. Oh, jeez. This is really bad luck. Watch, now he's gonna die. Oh, maybe not. Okay, we're good. Okay. So Arbiter goes first. Turn meter boosts everybody. You need to get heal reduction on Siphi so she doesn't heal herself. And then you need to lock down everybody except the Rotos because all the debuffs are gonna fall off of him. Okay, so we got 2 provokes out. We got no lockdown on the Siphi. Typically this would be a rerun. You've basically failed at this point, but we're going to see how it plays out. That's why these CC teams are so frustrating when they're not 100%. We'll decrease the turn on the buffs. We'll decrease attack on this other little Miss Annie. Get an HP burnout. Ouch. Okay, so we got a revive. And then turn meter boost. Nice. Bellower got a counter attack, got some block active skills up. Now we need to, okay, block active skills, stun, and this one is fine. She's got decreased attack up, so I'm just gonna A1 Siphi and try to decrease speed. Try to get HP burn up. Try to get more crowd control. Now we'll refresh the healing reduction. And that should be enough to take Siphi down if I can survive. Block active skills. Okay, so we'll try to stun. We got a stun on Siphi. Nobody else. I'm going to try to provoke these little Miss Annies. Nice, got him. 1 turn away from reviving. And Siphi is just about dead. Beauty. And look at that brimstone proc. That is huge. Okay, so now that Siphi's down, we can finally crowd control these Rotos. So we can throw a stun out. Got both of them stunned. And then you just cycle your cooldowns back up while trying to keep everybody's hit points as high as possible. So yeah, there's 2 ways you can do Doom Tower. One is with a nuke strategy with like a Seer or Inquisitor Shamal can one-shot the Siphis. Royal Huntsman I think can do it. There could be a couple others that I'm not aware of. Or you do the hard CC with heal reduction. And since I had a Venom Mage, I went with heal reduction. I do have a Seer, I haven't built her yet. And yeah, this wave is just going to be completely easy, so we won't show that. The other tricky waves would be Torments. The best way to get through Torments would be to build high resist. So you'll need about 400 resistance to get an 18% chance to be frozen. If you go 450 resistance, you'll have around a 6.5% chance. So I recommend building a couple of champions in high resist for the Torment waves. And then it's just, again, it's the same thing. You CC, try to lock everybody down and kill them with HP burns and poisons. In terms of some replacements you could make, if you don't have a Bellower, you could do Gnarlhorn in a Frost set with a Frostbite set. Fearsome Presence, he can help lock down the waves. The problem is he's very squishy unless you have really good gear. So if you have a Bellower, just build a Bellower. Other than him, you could do Vizix, as I said. I don't have Vizix built yet. I just finished my budget Lydia challenge, so I'm starting to build all of these champs I wasn't allowed to use. So I got a lot of champs to build. Vizix is good because she steals turn meter, has a decreased speed AoE, ally protection, and 100% provoke on her A3. Put her in a stun set. Both of these moves are an attack, so they have a chance to stun. She's really good for that. And whoops. And finally, another free champion I would recommend building. I'm working on mine right now. Akoth. He's got AoE attack. Put him in a stun set for a chance to stun. Puts out the HP burns for damage. And then his A3 is really interesting. This is such an overpowered ability in my opinion. 50% chance to increase the cooldowns of all enemy skills by 2 turns if they're under HP burn. Also places a shield equal to 20% of his max HP on all allies. That is insane. And he's defense based, so you can build him super tanky. Goes up to a 70% chance. But you build him in a stun set as well. He's got 2 chances to stun. He brings the HP burns, brings the decreased cooldown skills, and has a 10% chance to place a fear on any enemy that gets an HP burn, that takes damage from HP burn. So if you get 5 HP burns out on the enemy team, every time one of those enemies gets a turn, everybody has a 10% chance to be feared. Which I think, yeah, goes up to 25%, and I think Fearsome Presence puts that up to 30. Absolutely busted. So work on your secret rooms, guys. I'll just show you the gear I have on some of these champs and explain my reasoning behind it. Mithrala, when you get her, definitely drop Drexstar for her in most cases. Full accuracy perception setup. Her A1 drops a couple poisons, helps with damage. A2 puts the hex out, increases your defense. A3, full cleanse, also strengthen and shield. Absolutely nuts. And then her passive turns all of her accuracy into resistance. So I'm looking at like almost 800 resistance on this champ, plus her aura, which is 10 more than Drex. So she's got almost 900 resistance. Nothing in Doom Tower can ever debuff her, other than like a Bommel who doesn't have increased decreased Akon. Insane champion. You should really be rushing to get this champion in any way possible. For a free-to-play account, you can use her in pretty much every PvE situation, and she is my strongest PvP champion by far in just this perception setup. Crazy. Arbiter is arguably even better than Mithrala, but the thing most people do is they just put her in really weak, fast gear, so she can't take a hit, which is, in my opinion, a huge mistake. Oh yeah, I'll show you my Mithrala Masteries. Eagle Eye for extra accuracy / resistance. Just generic defense tree. Blast Proof is huge for PvE content. Also works in PvP if you're getting AoE down. But generally, this is the one you take for PvE. And if you're going for PvP, you take improved parry, because most champions are going to crit you. But yeah, and then Resurgent. I don't know why I have this. She's never going to get debuffed. I probably should have gone for Shadow Heal. Delay Death, more damage reduction up to 6% if you're getting hit multiple times. And then Cycle of Revenge doesn't proc that often in PvE content because PvE has low crit chance, but works for PvP and on the off chance you get crit in PvE. And then generic support masteries with extra accuracy. I honestly don't know if this adds to her resistance, but I guess it should, right? And then I did Shield Bearer to give her more shield when she casts it. Arcane Celerity for any debuffer is a really solid option. Just gives them extra turn meter whenever debuffs expire. Eagle Eye to reduce enemy turn meter a bit. Spirit Haste, it's decent for PvE if you're gonna have allies dead, but yeah, I just didn't have anything else that I really wanted, so I gave that to her. And then back to Arbiter. I put her in a hybrid dungeon / speed build. Due to Classic Arena being so weak, you don't really need a 350 speed Arbiter unless you're pushing like Platinum or really high tier gold tag 3v3, which on a free-to-play account or on a low spending account is going to take you probably a year and a half to 2 years to get to that point. So I highly recommend you put her in a still fast set. You know, you still want her to be able to work as a speed booster in Arena. But then build out her tank stats a bit more. Give her more hit points, more defense. If you can, I would recommend going a resistance build. I can't get there with my gear quite yet, but I'm trying. I went with resistance masteries, which aren't really doing much for me right now because I don't have enough resistance to make it worth it. Improved parry for Arena. You could argue going blast proof would be preferable here, but yeah, it's whatever. I don't think it's a big deal. Resurgent, delay death, yeah. Chance to retaliate, but I only chose this one to get to Unshakable. And then instead of going for the Arcane Celerity for debuffers, I went with a Rapid Response. Because she casts buffs, she doesn't debuff. Still went with Evil Eye, and for her Spirit Haste is well worth it. She's your reviver. When people are dead, she's going to move faster. You could instead go for Timely Intervention. That's a good option for her. And if switching masteries were free, I would be going for this right now until I have enough resistance on her gear to make it worth it. Drextar's in his random lifesteal build with a perception set. I don't even have a perception set on him. Wow, that's embarrassing. I just had to re-gear him recently because I took gear off of him, and I guess I must have missed that. I think this was the chest plate I had him in. 4 less speed. Yeah. Okay. Just pretend you didn't see that. If I could edit my video, that would be edited out. You don't have to book him, but honestly, he's such a useful champion. And I had books for him, so I put books into him. I think it's worth the books. Especially if you're using him in Hard Doom Tower, you want this coming up as often as possible. And you really want that extra 20% chance to provoke. Because he's in Lifesteal, I went Giant Slayer. It's the only way he can heal himself back up. If I switch to Regen set, I'll likely go for a Resistance build. With Unshakable and just generic support masteries. Syl. between Mithralia, Syl, and Arbiter, it's really hard for me to decide who the best free champion is. But here's Syl. I like the Relentless set on her. Relentless is a very easy to get set if you focus on Tag Team Arena early. You can win those tournaments with very minimal gem investment. You just buy the 15 gem refill every day. Try to win every Tag Team Arena tournament. You can do it up till about level 80, and then you're with the big boys after that are scoring like 25,000 points at the top end. So yeah, I just went for resistance and accuracy, as much hit points and defense as possible. When you're building these support tanky champs, don't try to fit crit rate and damage on their build. They're so much more useful if you just build them super tanky with high resist. Like this Syl build is mint. The one thing I would change, if I could get more speed, that would be ideal. She's running quite slow, but she survives in every level of hard Doom Tower, so it's not a big deal. And her masteries, I went with Fearsome Presence for extra chance to stun. Some people build their Syl in a stun set, which is fine as well. Or you can put her in a regen set, which is good for soloing certain Doom Tower bosses. Any of those is fine. Just build her tanky, build her high resist, and she should work just as well in hard Doom Tower waves. Yeah, pretty generic. Nothing special going on there. My Venom Mage here is in Regen and Immortal. I use him along with Syl to duo Ice Golem 24 and Dragon 24 when I'm farming them for tournaments. Nothing special about it, just as much tanky stats as I can, as much speed as possible, enough accuracy to land her debuffs in hard Doom Tower. And I went with Opportunist here, or sorry, Oppressor, just to give her extra turn meter fill when her poisons are out. I think it's probably the best tier 6 mastery for her. I can't really think of anything else I'd prefer more, so that just helps her move a bit faster. I guess I could go for Unshakable, because I was having problems building her resistance up with my current setup. I didn't have a good resistance banner, so I had to go with accuracy instead. But that could be something to consider. If I could change anything about her build, it would be to be able to get a defense percent on one of these. But I haven't checked, but I don't think I have the gear to do that quite yet. And then, who else? Oh yeah, Bellower. Where's my Bellower? Oh, right here. So you can tell these guys aren't geared very well. Like, this is an end game, incredible, crazy gear. You gotta put them in a stun set, number one. As much speed and accuracy as you can until you hit your threshold. After that, everything to defense and hit points. Revenge accessories are ideal. I should probably upgrade these to get them some extra stats. And you'll likely have to go for an accuracy banner. But yeah, he's got low base stats, so he's kind of squishy. Does the job though. And I think that was it. I'll show you how my Paragon is geared for the Mortu Macabre waves. It's just as much resist as I could pile on, with a decent amount of speed to make sure he gets a turn off. I'm below the 400 resistance threshold, so I need some better resistance gear. Yeah, like, I don't farm Ice Golem very much, so my resistance gear is trash. So maybe next rotation I'll be able to farm some Bommel and get some Fortitude armor. And then champs like Helikath. I just have Helikath in his clan boss build. Nothing special. I use him against the Venus Cupidus waves for his block damage. And Geomancer in a Stalwart set for Iron Twins. Again, nothing too crazy, just War Master. I only use him against the Venus Cupidus waves as well. I think, yeah, you can get through most of Hard Doom Tower with free-to-play champs and the odd Void Rare, the odd Epic. If you don't have a Venomage, there are a ton of heal reduction champions. For instance, you could use Ghostborn, Cantra the Cyclone, Manaya, Suzerain Katone, Tila, Tormund the Cold, Vergumkar, Corpse Collector, Kalia, Farceless Gravedirt, or this rare that I'm about to show you, which I want to build, but I haven't yet because I've got a ton of other champs to build first. But I've got a copy of this guy in my vault. He was one of the last rares I ever pulled on this account, which is why he's not built yet. He's got the 75% chance, 70% chance to land heal reduction on a 3-turn cooldown, and you could boost that up to 75% with Fearsome Presence, and I would put him in a stun set. He also has a passive which heals himself, and he's got a huge chance to provoke on his A1. So if you're looking for a champ to help you get through Magma Dragon, this guy can do it. He's got decent base hit points, very low base defense, but can't really be helped. Low base speed as well. But he could do the job. Just throw him in like Stun and Immortal, Fearsome Presence, support Masteries. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to show you guys. If you have any other content you'd like to see, or if you have any questions about building a wave team, or anything, just let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next one.